Hello, good evening, people. Welcome to today's podcast at 103.5 MHz FM Akashvani, Kurseong. A very special day indeed, where we celebrate the existence of women around the world, where gender is brought to the limelight. All because it's the nature's way of dealing with the balance on earth. Yes, the darkness with the light, the fire with the water, the good with the evil, and the woman with the man. Therefore, when we talk of the role of women, it becomes obvious. Patience, love, compassion, creator, all the adjectives becomes less to define this creation of the divine. Today, in the world of artificial intelligence, there seems nothing women cannot do. It becomes just a matter of opportunity. Yes, given the opportunity, women run the world. The buzzword today being self-reliance. Today in this episode, we shall focus on the achievements. Yes, women achievers has had success based on a lot of sacrifices, has had to wear an armor of struggles. At times, the output of which comes out marvelous. Yet, there are women who have been able to balance their personal and professional life and stands out outstanding. Today in the studio, we have Women Power, whose success has stories that would be extremely motivating and captivating for all the women who aspire to lead. A small, beautiful little girl with big dreams raised amid, I quote, Kurseong's misty hills, she carved her path from the classrooms to the community impact. An awardee whom we talk about her to give us that feeling of immense pride at such a young age, and most importantly, an emerging rural entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Mrs. Preksha Sharma, the founder and CEO of a homestay which is based on Bijanbari, Darjeeling district, contributing to the rural economy of the hills. Hello, Preksha. I must say we are extremely happy to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us and giving us your precious time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Manisha, for having me here. It is a pleasure on my part to be here and given this opportunity to speak on women and how they make a difference in the society today.
So, Preksha, I did give a gist of you and your life to our listeners. I would like you to actually give yourself an introduction.
So, talking about me, I'm a daughter, a wife, a daughter-in-law, and a mother of 3 beautiful girls. Like every other woman, I'm trying to balance life in its best possible way. I have my own challenges that I wake up to, but I work towards navigating life through those challenges. I'm a passionate entrepreneur. I love nature. And I'm a budding farmer who's learning to grow her own food. I'm one person who believes in women and how they are the change makers in the society. Mm-hmm. So I work with women in the villages through self-help groups, and we kind of work towards upliftment of women in the village together. So that is summing up me as a person, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. Okay, first of all, let us talk about your educational qualifications. Mm-hmm. You said you went in for your mass communication, so from Jain University, Bangalore. So what made you pursue your mass comm? Because back then it was a pretty new academic course.
Mm-hmm. So mass comm, I graduated in English from Darjeeling, and then I had 2 options. One was MSW and one was mass communication. Being from Darjeeling, and I thought city life would be exciting, so I chose mass comm because it required a strong English background. So True. I thought then I used to look at reporters back then on TV, and I used to feel very motivated looking at them, and I wanted to do something like that. So I thought maybe mass comm would be the right choice for me, and that is how me and my friend, we landed in Bangalore in Jain University, and we completed our course. And during our mass comm program, 6 months was internship. We could choose public relations or marketing, or we could have chosen reporting. So I chose reporting, and it was one of the very well known of those times. Then after I joined another news channel because I had my share of maybe disagreements. And I realized that I wasn't quite meant for the hardcore media. I was more on the soft side of life. So I did all kind of stories actually. So I was a part of host of these things. But at the end of the day, I always felt that maybe this isn't giving me too much of happiness, and maybe this isn't what I'm meant for. Then I got a chance to work for another Bangalore-based news channel. It was also one of the very well known in Bangalore, locally in Bangalore. And so I left my stint with the media and I decided to get back home in Darjeeling.
Okay, so that's probably the reason why you left the city. When we were going through your CV, we just found out that you're working with the NGO as well.
Yes.
So that was where? Was it in Bangalore?
No, the NGO was in Darjeeling. So after I came back from Bangalore,
it was in your early 20s then?
Not early 20s. Before working with the NGO, I taught in St. Joseph's College, North Point, as a mass comm lecturer. I taught there for a year. But again, like maybe now when I look at myself, or when I think, I made decisions which maybe felt right at that point of time, but wasn't the right decision. But I didn't want to repeat the same mistake again and again. I was learning from the decisions that I was making. So see, like, we should give ourselves a chance always. If you don't take that chance, then we will never know what we are good at.
Okay, now before moving on to talk about your venture, your project, let's know in depth, okay? What is the concept of homestay, particularly when we talk about the rural homestays here up in the hills?
The concept of homestay is not to build a new property, have many people working under you and run it remotely. No, that is not the concept of homestay. Homestay is where you are there living in the property. You have guests who come and live with you in your family, see your culture, and like you exchange your food with them, you exchange your culture with them, you host them, you're cooking for them, and you're living in the same place. That is how a concept of homestay was actually supposed to be. But in times like today, we see that the concept of homestay has gone from not just having a modest property running with you and your family and hosting guests like family. Instead of that, homestay business has now become alternate to hotels, because it is for the traveler to take back the memory of the place with them, the experiences of the place. So now the modern day homestay concept has changed a lot. People should actually rename their properties from, don't call it a homestay, call it a farm stay, call it a hotel, call it a lodge, or call it a resort, even better. But don't call it a homestay if you are not living in the property, if you're not meeting your guest, and if you've leased out your property. It cannot be a homestay, because when you are taking care of the land, your own land, then you cannot have it, like people come here to have a look or experience of your culture, not for somebody who is coming from the plains, leasing your property. No, travelers are coming to experience the Himalayan life, whereas a person who is living from the plains, takes a property in the hills as lease, cannot show you that culture, because it's not possible. For him, it is a different culture altogether.
Totally.
So the concept of homestays should remain as it is.
So somehow or the other, it contributes to the rural tourism. Your say on that?
Okay, so yeah, homestays in the villages are definitely a source of a self-sustainable self-employment. It is a step towards that in the villages for women especially, because what I feel is rather than having more male members as homestay owners or farm stay owners or people who are doing rural tourism, they should let their better halves in the house take the lead, because women in general are very soft spoken, they are very lovable, they're very kind, and they're very resilient. So they have that strength to deal with the people, deal with guests. They have the strength to deal with the staffs that they employ, and they also have the warmth. When a guest comes to their property, they know how to welcome the guest with warmth and love. I always say, wherever we have tourism meets and this and all these programs related to tourism, I always say that to my counterparts who are male, I tell them, like, you bring your wife along when you come for these programs. Let her see how it's done, because I think she'll do it even more better than what you're doing. I always tell them, and they don't take it as an offense, but so they are the ones who are helping us. So local drivers in your area, give them your guest, give them a chance to carry your guest. So that way you are giving them some kind of regular income during the season time. As much as you can. If you make our purchases locally, we are also helping the local farmers, the local shopkeepers. So then what happens is, instead of looking at things from a very micro level, we can see that the growth is happening macro levels, and that is kind of helping a society or a community grow as a whole. So rural tourism is very important. It's shaping how mothers are bringing up their children, because see, when a village has guests coming in, guests going out, kids, when they see that, there is a lot of cultural exchange happening. So kids from the villages are learning languages, they are learning to understand business, which is very important. Self-dependence, reliance. We cannot depend upon the government all the time, because we are a very, very big population. So we have to take charge, and I think this is one way of taking charge for ourselves.
So maybe that answers my question. Actually, I was going to ask you, how does it help build local communities? I think that was my answer.
Oh yes, I think I answered your question. So before the question came, yeah.
Would you like to elaborate, or it was just?
No, I think this is it. Like, this is how it grows. This is how it helps the local communities grow, and then it gives them an idea. They also want to do something. So what we do in our village is, whenever we have guests in our farm stay, we take them around our village.
Okay, so coming to what you've been doing right now, Preksha, I quote, your beloved Bijanbari haven for rural glamping and rural tourism.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you come up with this idea, and what were your thoughts? Were there no fears of losses? Of course, this becomes a very, very contradictory questions when I heard what you say, when you put in your entire soul into your concept, your idea, but yet this question arises. So maybe it was a big investment of yours. So tell us, how did it start?
See, my journey into tourism, like with all my stints in the cities, and then working with the NGO, then coming close to the village, and then having my first daughter. So that is what changed for me. Like, that is how my journey into tourism began. So I think I'll have to mention that here. So when Manisha was born, I didn't want to go back to work. I wasn't in the state to leave her behind, though I had my support system, but maybe there was a fear of being a mom for the first time. I didn't want to go back to work, and I didn't want to stay idle either. So we had a space in my home. So Devashkar, he gave me a thought that, why don't you start a homestay here? And me, I was from the mass comm background. I was zero into tourism. I didn't know how tourism is done. So I was like, are you sure this is going to work? Then he said, you give it a try. And then we were our own cooks. We were the manager. We were the cleaner. So we were doing all the roles ourselves for the first 6 years, like me and Devashkar, because it was also teaching us. So it was all about putting our heart there and learning. And during that process, hosted so many international guests, hosted so many national guests, and we received so much love. Then we received the award for best homestay, many other awards for that homestay. And then when I thought, this is I want to do more on this, I want to explore the other side of tourism, not just have a property where guests come. Building a property in the outskirts where there are no road connectivity, better road connectivity, would cost us a lot of money, and we had to do our share of struggles, and I had to do what was necessary that time, and loans, and we took loans that was necessary, and we were working on the property. COVID happened in between. So construction was halted, everything came to a stop. Things felt haywire, because then we had the EMIs that were loading, but the work was not happening, and progress was already in hold. Financial struggles were already there, and then came a very big emotional turmoil in the family. I lost my younger brother, so that was it was a time, only thing I was telling myself is live it one day at a time. That was kind of getting me through. And then after a year and a half of starting the construction and stalling it for after 1.5 years, we went back again to redo whatever was done, because all of it was back to ground. And then the story of resilience, and I think that is the strength of a Gorkha woman, I guess, or for every woman, it kind of worked. The strength worked, the difficult times worked, everything slowly it took shape. And we still have our challenges, though. We are still facing challenges, and we're working towards it, That's how it is.
Amazing, I must say. They say you just have to manifest and then, it just comes true. Maybe that is what has happened. Of course, there's a lot of hard work and
yes,
patience and everything that's involved there. So please tell us about your concept on the project, about zero waste farming, about the employment of women, because this is the day we are talking about. Okay, so all the women that you've employed or directly, indirectly, okay, and about the eco-friendly practices that you have been adopted. So I think you should say something on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is very this topic is very close to our heart, because living in the village, as much glamorous as it sounds, and as much as easy it sounds, it involves a lot of learning and unlearning. And every day it was, when we first went to the village, we realized that even in villages these days, chemical farming had started, and people had started resorting to easy ways of growing food, and that kind of didn't feel right. It didn't feel right for ourselves, for the soil that we were growing the food on. It kind of moved something within us. The whole purpose of coming back to living in a village, coming back to the roots, was to change our lifestyles completely from the regular everyday life that we were living to something which was more holistic. So we were trying that, and when we see that the soil itself, the very source of food, was not not treated right, it became a challenge for us to undo the damage first. Then while trying to treat the soil, we understood the concept of farming right, and not doing commercial farming, and growing things like companion together, saving space. Those things we learned in the process, and we kind of applied these in our daily farming activities. We only take what is needed from the land. We don't overuse the land. So we kind of we try to live at least 80% chemical free life in the villages, and that is how the concept of farming came into being. And then zero waste happened, because zero waste, I used to feel very sorry when I used to see dirt piled up, and everything plastic. So it used to make me feel very sad, not used. So we don't sell mineral water bottles at all in our property, in our guests. We have RO installed, so we give them filtered water. When they come in plastic bottles, it's not healthy to drink, and also the plastic is not healthy for the soil. Recycling is a issue in the villages. It's not very simple and easy, where we get pickup vans to take our waste and recycle places. All of this is very big challenge in the villages. So we thought we will not let the problem arise itself. So we thought we will not sell water, and I guess they understand. When they come, they understand the concept behind how we have designed this property. So they understand that not selling water bottles, and not having Wi-Fi, and not having TV, all of it makes sense to them. So then what we do is, we don't buy pouches for our kitchen supplies. We mostly buy those commercial big size jars or tins, or and for our dal and all that, we buy from local vendors. And half of the vegetables we produce our own, sustainable, not in just terms of the environment, but in terms of money also, sustainable for the village.
Okay, excellent. Just so good an action, like I said. Now that you've said about the zero waste farming and eco-friendly practices, let's talk about the empowerment of women, especially when today, keeping in mind that day today being International Women's Day, your initiative, your actions, Preksha, what is women empowerment to you in general? And has there been more women, in fact, I can say, I can ask, involved in your project and your venture? Let's hear it from the achiever.
Yes, definitely. Most of our teammates are women. We only have one male member, and rest everybody is women.
Wow.
And but women empowerment, I wouldn't say that is women empowerment. Women empowerment, what I feel is should start from when a girl child is young. It starts from the family, wherein the girl child is heard, her opinions are listened, her opinions are taken care of when she's given a chance to speak up. Because we see most of the time whether it be in the cities or whether it be in the villages, when there is a daughter in the house, like, oh, this is a man's job and this is a girl's job. Oh, this is not how daughters are supposed to be. Oh, this is you don't have to be into sports so much. You can sing and dance if you want to, but sports, why? It is a man's place. Like, if we do not change that concept of raising
Gender,
daughters,
yes.
then I don't know whether we are really empowering women, because I am a mother of 3 girls, and of everything else I will obviously teach them to be sensitive and compassionate and loving, but I will also teach them to speak up for themselves every single time. If we do not empower them from that age, growing up and suddenly finding a place will be difficult.
True.
What we are doing now in the villages is like, I work with SHGs. I'm a member of the SHG myself, and we work with various other SHGs. We're trying to do programs through SHGs and, like sensitization programs, waste management programs, guide training programs, women guides. So we are trying to work through SHG and tourism, and this is all there which we have been working on, when we plan to work on. So all these projects are there, and it includes most women folks from our village. Even in our daily farming activities, suppose we need labor, we are making sure that we have women coming to work, even in the fields. For people living in the village, sometimes even a daily wage work means a lot. When you have money in your hand, you get that strength maybe to make some decisions, rather than when you are depending on somebody for even a little money. So with small initiatives we try. There is a woman in our village who grows who plants good succulents. So what we do is we buy succulents from her and we sell it to the guest who is coming to the homestay. So that is how in small ways and big ways we are trying to work together. I would say they are empowering me, I'm empowering them. So we are both empowering, we are all empowering each other to become strong, resilient women of the society. Yeah.
Stunning. Well, the thought resounds how you are, Preksha, I must say. Yes, listeners, she looks absolutely gorgeous. But of course, beauty is skin deep, and seriously, a good heart with good brains. Okay.
God, thank you so
and
much.
And pure soul. That's Preksha Sharma for you. Well, this is completely my opinion, my perspective. But yes, she has been awarded the most influential women excellence. And so if you could just tell us something about the awards that you've been honored with.
So not recently, but yeah, I mean, I received an award, Women Excellence in Business, and also Women Achiever for empowering women in the villages. So I received these 2 awards. There was another one that I was about to receive for our project in Bijanbari, for which I was supposed to go to Bhopal, but again, challenges come, so I couldn't go for that award and I missed on that one. So yeah, these are the awards, and if I can do something in a collective way later in the future, then, and if I get an award for something, like, it'll resonate more with me than having 1 or 2 for myself.
That is for sure to come one day, soon, that is. Okay, now coming to your personal life, you said you have 3 daughters, and firstly, let me just congratulate you for having 3 daughters when, when this generation today leans on the nuclear family. Okay, so I think it's a blessed family, I must say, a complete one. Like we say, Ghar mein Lakshmi or something. So we consider, in our culture, we consider them as the goddess.
True.
So tell us something about your family, about your 3 daughters. How do you manage your personal and your professional life? Do you get time to raise them yourself, or do you have to keep them, far away from you? Somehow or the other, my question is like, is that justified, keeping away from you and then you working, or you actually rearing them?
So like, yeah, it's difficult when I have to, leave them here and go. I feel sad, but the thing is, see, they also need to understand that mom needs to work, and they also needs to they understand that though she goes to her workplace, to Bijanbari, and she's there with my youngest daughter is with me. The people who raised me are raising my daughters now, so I most definitely know that they are being raised wonderfully well. Like they live with my parents here in Kaohsiung for their education, but we make sure we spend a lot of time together. So even when I'm out for work, maximum for 10 days is where I stay away from them. Then I come back for a week or 5 days and then go back. So I don't mind traveling to and fro, or maybe I don't. And also I have my husband who is there all the time supporting in all of this. We are working as a team. I wouldn't say that in raising our daughters, we are all working as a team, and I'm taking the privilege of it and working towards a life where I can spend more time with them in the future. The communication gap is not there. We are always communicating with each other, so I know what they're feeling. And
all right. Okay, so a small question here that comes when you talked about your challenges in your life, somewhere we just heard that there were times when you were not medically fit as well. So,
yes.
Those times and the times when you are far away from your daughter and the times when, things like COVID just comes up and you are investing so much there in your projects. So what makes you go on?
See, I am one person who has deep faith in God. I don't know whether it's called God, universe, energy, nature, whichever form we want to place that in. I have faith in that one particular thing, that superpower. I also know that living in a quiet place, I think that kind of thought process develops in you, where you understand that things might feel rock bottom, it might hit rock bottom today, but it is not going to remain the same forever. Like, I'm a lover of sunrise. I love sunrises like anything, so I get inspiration from the sunrise. I see the sunrise with so much of like life, full of life, giving life to everyone. Everything is dependent upon the sun for life. So when I see the sun, and then it also has a time to set, and then it comes back with full glory again the next morning. So when there is day and night in nature, when there is darkness and light everywhere, how can I expect my life to be light all the time? It will have its moments of darkness. I will have my moments of challenges, but whatever is meant to happen will happen. I have to be a spectator and move on. So that is how I have dealt with most of my life till now, and that is how I'm going to deal with in the future
as well.
Yeah.
Incredible. A very different, inspiring, thoughtful thought. On that thought, let's come to yet another important person in your life. You see, today when we talk about success, achievements, fame, all these, it is the other way around. This is my perception, okay? It is the other way around. Gone are the days when we say women are behind a successful woman. Today we say a man is behind a successful woman. Okay, so like you said, your husband has been a support system to you. So would you like to describe your partner's support on your success?
It's like, obviously, we have been taking every decision together. So more like, it is... neither is he behind me or neither am I behind. We are working together, so we are doing it all together, hand in hand, and we are partners in life, we are partners in business, and we are partners in raising children. And I think God has been kind that we came across each other and we had the same kind of feeling, like, how a partner should be to each other. And we have a share of fights. We do have a share of, moments like, why with this person all the time? But then again, at the end of the day, I wouldn't go back to sleep angry and he wouldn't be able to go back to sleep angry. So we have this in our heads that the day must end in a good way. So I think that makes up for all the disagreements we have, and then we keep that aside and we again work towards our goals. We discuss with each other, we make plans with each other, and we've been doing everything so much together that from building this project to working on the subtleties of it to small things we've done together. So him and me, we are I don't know, like,
yes,
yeah,
we are the world. Indeed, absolutely. Without such love, such commitment to the relationship, to the vows, it seems nothing seems possible, isn't it? And yes, power couple, I would like to say. And I just hope that there may be no negative energies that
thank
surrounds.
you. Yes, that means a lot to us.
The two of you. Okay. All right then. Winding up on such beautiful thoughts and such motivational thoughts, here we come to the end of today's fruitful conversation. With so much admiration of you, Preksha, and of course so much respect, we bid you goodbye. Thank you so much for coming here and talking to us. A whole lot of gratitude for your presence. We wish you all good things blessings in your life to come, in your future, and for the days to come. Hope you breathe the air of success, more success, and may your peace of mind prevail. Never be disturbed. You always be happy and you always smile. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was truly wonderful.
Okay, on that note is here we come to the end of today's episode of the podcast. Hope you liked it and hope it was informative to you, inspirational to you as we expect. We shall come again with much more conversation like this. Till then, just to take care and keep listening to 103.5 MHz FM Akashvani Kurseong. Goodbye.